Well, welcome to another show for the Heartland Cycling Network. We have a very interesting guest this evening. His name is Michael Merritt. He's president of the Wear Yellow ride and organization here in Nebraska. So, Michael, tell me a little bit about Wear Yellow.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, Jeff. Wear Yellow, Nebraska. We are a cancer nonprofit based here in Omaha, and most people know us by the Wear Yellow ride, run and walk. But our organization provides transportation to and from treatment for any Nebraska cancer survivor who needs it. And that's not financially based. It's so many reasons that people ask for rides or need rides. So we have a couple of events, but the Wear Yellow ride is our key ride. That's all of our proceeds support to and from treatment transportation. So each one of our participants that registers, that basically equals a round trip for them.
Oh, cool.
So that's what we do to support them.
Okay. How long have you been involved with Wear Yellow? Just out of curiosity.
For me, it's been 8 years, a little over 8 years. This is my 7th year, I believe, for being president and director of the ride.
Okay.
So yeah, it's gone quick, but it's been great to see the organization grow. We've brought in so many good people as volunteers. You've participated in the ride and everything, and you've probably seen how much we've grown the event and expanded it, and we try to make it better every year. So.
So typically, how many people actually sign up for the ride on an annual basis? Though?
So 2019 was our record year pre-COVID. We were at 765 total registered participants.
Cool. Very good.
So that was pretty amazing. Thankfully, last year, people still wanted to ride, and they wanted to be outside. So we were about 450 for last year during COVID, and we're about on track for that this year too. I think people are still kind of feeling things out and deciding what they want to do this year yet. So.
Okay. Well, what type of rides are there? You figure, I'm sort of maybe an endurance cyclist. I do get out and I do some long rides, but what would be, let's say, the typical ride that somebody might take, or what kind of rides do you have?
Sure. We have a little bit for everybody. We have 4 road rides, and these are on open highways, but we start pretty early in the morning, so not a lot of traffic, great shoulders, great highways. We have power stops about every 10 miles, so they're fully supported. We have 3 bike shops out there to support them. But we go from 25, 35, 45, and 55 miles. So if you're someone who's gotten into it the last couple of years, like we've seen a lot of people, and you might be doing 15, 20 miles a ride, our 25-mile ride is perfect for you. We also have 2 gravel routes, kind of an entry-level 27-mile, and then our longer ones usually in that 55, 56 range, a little bit more climbing and a little bit more adventurous. But and then 6 years ago we added the 5K fun run and walk. So that goes out of the SAC Museum as well. They go over to Mahoney and they actually kind of tour the park and then come back, and it's right out of 5K. So,
very cool, very cool. So there's a little bit for everybody out there.
Yep.
I know I've done, the first time I actually rode the Wear Yellow, I did the 25 mile, and I said that was cool. Last year I did the 50.
Yep.
So I was doing road because I wasn't really in the gravel.
Yeah. I think most people say the 45-mile route is, it's the most scenic, it's most pretty, and it's good rolling hills, and it really kind of gets you around about 3 small towns, and you kind of get to see that Platte River Valley area. So.
Yeah, that's the one thing about the rides is that there are hills.
Yes.
So just expect that it's not going to be flat. So, for the perception of Nebraska being flat, that's not the case.
No, not at all. And the good thing is, most of them are good rolling hills, not too many short, steep ones that we all hate. So it's, most people can get after any of the... You
said this is the main event, which is the Wear Yellow ride. You've got a couple other events that come up. What are those?
We do. So we started the gravel race this will be our 3rd year this year, with a couple of folks from the Trek store, and we got together over lunch one day and said, let's try this, and they said, we want to support Wear Yellow, Nebraska with the proceeds. So 5 weeks out from the event, the gravel race was born, and we had 150 people that first year, which was great. Last year we had to do a little modified event. Because of COVID, we still had 140 people sign up. So we're going even bigger this year. So we're going to be rolling out of downtown Ashland, which is going to be really neat. We've got good support from the city and everything. So that's, I think, probably going to raise our numbers again this year. So we're looking forward. It's one of those kind of niche things that, I think there's a base that we can grow it with, and it's a great support for us.
That is a competitive type event.
Is.
Okay,
it is
that's
a race.
something it's not a race, let's say, with individuals against themselves, but it's
Yes.
east-west.
Yes.
Okay, and define that for us.
We use the Platte River as our defining point. So if you live east of it or if you live west of it, that depends on which team you're on. So it's a little bit Omaha area, Lincoln area, because both have great gravel communities. They both turn out for events. They both, a lot of competitors in those. So it's really a team event. It's not a first, second, third. It's we scored off the number of people that come in at certain times through the race, and makes it a little more of an adventure. You don't really know who wins until everybody's back, and we're at the after party event, and we share who wins. And
and there's another event that you do too. What is that?
We do a lot of kind of smaller one-off events where they're more fundraiser events and more to like sell our gear, take registration events. We've done some other ride events in the past. We've found that some that are very volunteer heavy, and you just for an all-volunteer organization, none of us are paid. We're all volunteers, all the way up to me. You really have to look at what's the best bang for your non-buck, because we're not paying anybody. So getting volunteers, to share their time, and it turns into their family and their friends, and we have a lot of support that goes outside of just our volunteers. So, we've found kind of these are our two niche spots to really run with and benefit the organization the most. So
well, about the Wear Yellow ride, I think you mentioned that it starts at the SAC Museum or the Air and Space Museum. And I know with my participation, I've seen, you've got a great setup over there, and people can tour the museum and all sorts of other things. Tell us a little bit more about what goes on there.
Sure. So everything's based out of the restoration hangar at the back of the museum. So a lot of space. We open the doors, big open air space. And that was great for last year for COVID, for any concerns. We were really able to move things out and around. But we've got registration area, we've got sales area where we sell a lot of our clothes. We have brand new jerseys coming out this year that I think came today. So those would be great to share. Excuse me. The Pancake Man is there, so great breakfast.
Pancake Man. That's good.
And excuse me. In the past, we've had an expo where we've had massage therapists, chiropractors come in and help kind of stretch the muscles out when you get back from the ride. We have vendors that'll come in and share info about other rides, other organizations, bicycle clubs, those kind of things.
Being a member of a couple of those, I know one of them has been very active out there.
Yep, definitely. And then access to the museum for you and your family if you want after the event. We have a lot of that. And then this year we're kind of excited because the F117 they just brought in is supposedly in the hangar. So it'll be kind of a new setup and a little bit more room for us, which is good because we set up a big area for breakfast and everything for post-ride. And then we have the legendary raffle.
I was going to bring that up.
So
what's that
every
about?
year we bring in about $7,000 to $8,000 worth of raffle items. And this year what people will see is they're bigger high dollar items, not as many items. Because we've all been impacted in one way, shape, or form from the pandemic this last year, and a lot of our local organizations, they're struggling, so we're not even asking. But we've had Kuat step up and give us a rack. Wahoo stepped up, gave us an Element Roam. A great supporter from the last 10 years or so, Twin Six out of Minneapolis, just sent us a great box of their gear. Roadrunner bags, $500 in bags, in bike bags, custom-made bike bags. So we've got some really cool stuff. We've got 2 bikes that Quality Brands here in Omaha donated to us, a Michelob Ultra bike that you might see in some of the high V's and bars and restaurants, and a beautiful Kona brewing bike, real nice kind of beach cruiser. And then we have our own Wear Yellow bike that we raffle every year, our bike raffle. So we've got it, and people always look forward to that one and who's going to win that one. So, but yeah, we've got up to $1,000 wheel set from the bike rack. So there's some key items that you can win for as little as $1. So
not everybody gets into wheel sets and parts,
No.
but those people that do ride, all of a sudden our garages tend to fill up with
start
a
looking
lot of
like a
different
bike
things.
shop. Yeah.
And what do they say? N+1,
Yep.
-4, and I have one that I'm looking at or want, and then of course I've got all these other parts and stuff, and
Yeah.
so okay. So in terms of the Wear Yellow ride, you say that you provide the transportation for cancer survivors, cancer
Yep.
patients. Typically, how many rides are actually offered on an annual basis, or what kind of support have you given?
So last year was a record year for us. Typical years, we're in that 2,500 range. We've been hitting close to 4,000 the last 2 years, and this year we are on record track again.
Okay.
We cover Omaha and the surrounding areas, and then Lincoln and the surrounding areas. And we've actually seen, most people would think Omaha might be more just because of population. Omaha and Lincoln have been pretty even as far as how many rides they use.
Okay.
We're averaging 300 to 350 each month.
Okay.
That's a significant amount of
Yeah.
rides provided.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how would somebody get in contact with you if they needed a ride? Is that something?
Honestly, the great thing about the program is we don't have to do a lot of the logistical side. When someone is diagnosed, they typically have a nurse navigator or a social worker, somebody they work with at the facility that they're at. And that's who we contact. That's who we communicate with. They share the information about us. We have a friend of ours, a friend of theirs was just diagnosed, and he called me and said, hey, he was told about the program by his nurse navigator.
Okay.
So it's good to hear that they are sharing that, and they know it's a resource for anyone. And like I said earlier, it's not financial based. It's sometimes you just don't want to ask somebody for something more as you're going through a year or 5 years of this. So the cab ride is there for anybody. So yeah, the nurse navigators and social workers, they'll set them up with the info. They'll set them up with the actual rides themselves. So we are primarily through Lyft from a cost basis. That's a little cheaper for us. We do use the cab programs in the different areas just as a backup. But they'll schedule everything for them, and they'll take care of everything. And we raise the funds, and we write the check to cover each month, and that's kind of how we operate it.
That's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good. So that's how you're actually getting the word out there. Now, as far as the ride itself, I know, social media-wise, I see a lot of activity that the Wear Yellow group is doing. And I would assume that is something that has grown over the years, or?
Yeah, definitely.
Tell me a little bit about that, or tell us, what kind of things that you're actually doing.
Okay. That's actually where I was kind of brought into the group way back, was to kind of help with the marketing side, and I started off with the raffle and everything, because I did a lot on social media. I'm in the training world, and that's a big area for us. So we do a lot of social media. We kind of brought in some contractor help over the last 4 or 5 years to really help us get a little more organized and a better plan to it.
Okay.
So that's why you've seen probably a really good increase in the quality and timeliness of what we've been putting out. But we've put together a couple of videos about the cab ride program, about the ride itself, highlighted some of our folks that participate and what they love about it. But we've always just kind of had that kind of guerrilla marketing mindset, because we want to spend every dollar we raise on cancer patients. We don't want to spend it on high dollar marketing and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And the great thing about the bike community, if they find an event that they really like and it's done well, they share and they tell everybody, and that's easy to market.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of postcards, posters, a lot of social media, a lot of advertising, events like this. We used to do the morning blend every year when it was on, and I've spoken at churches, I've spoken in all sorts of places, and shared information about us and about the ride and the event, and that's really been a lot of it. It's really been grassroots and word of mouth. And
how many people are on your staff, if you want to call it? I mean, and they're not paid; they're volunteers.
Yeah.
You've got like a board or a core group that's there year round and doing the coordination. How many people are?
We've got about 15 on the board, 15 board members, myself, VPs, and directors. And then we've got a good dozen to 15, 16 who are event volunteers or one-off volunteers when they can help and those kind of things. We're always looking for more.
I was going to say, when you get to the events themselves, I'm sure you're looking for more volunteers.
We're always busy. We can always use help, but that's been the great thing. We do about August, so about this time of year, we'll do a call out for recruiting new board members, and we'll get 5-6 new people, and we've really had good luck with that. I mean, we've really had great people come on board, and then it'll be, my girlfriend would like to join, or my husband would like to help, or my family members would like to volunteer and support, and so we get a lot more out of that core group.
Yeah. And then where can they help? I mean, they can help at the check-in, I'm sure, and all the things that go on at the Air and Space Museum, but where else?
Leading up to the event, I mean, help them spread the word. So getting postcards out to bike shops, posters out to coffee shops and bike shops and the run shops, and helping spread the word there. We do a lot of postcards at other events. You've probably seen us with our Volkswagen trailer at the taco rides. So we get out to other events and try to get where the bikers and where the runners are. So, but yeah, we have lots of help and some administration, some organization type of volunteer help.
I tend to think I see you at most all of those kind of things. I think you really have a strong passion for this.
I do. It's been a great group. I mean, cancer's been in and out of my life everywhere. My dad was diagnosed last year, so and some close family members last year. So on top of the pandemic and everything else. Yeah.
So how did you get started? I mean, you said you've been involved in for about 8 years now.
Yeah. So I started.
And I know that the ride. This is what, the 18th year?
Yeah. So I started riding the event years 6 and 7. I had just moved to Omaha, so that's when I was kind of getting involved. And year 8, some of the board members asked, "Hey, you want to come help and market the event and join the board?" And I jumped on, and I always rode the cancer rides, the diabetes rides. Some of those key illnesses that have been around in my family, and the cancer one's a big one for me. So that was always my support, because it's not about who am I riding for or whatever. It's not an if, it's when is it my turn, and will somebody do that for me? So that's just kind of been my philosophy with it. And running the organization, we've found lots of information that's helped me personally with my family members and what they've gone through with cancer and things. So it's been a benefit all around. And I came in at a time where we were really growing the organization, and got a little more of a small business attitude towards it, because that's really what we are. And that's when we started getting some bigger fundraising opportunities and some bigger sponsors, and then the ride. I mean, for a while there, we were growing by 100 participants every year for about 4 years. And then it trimmed down a little bit. So every year we bring in about 50 to 75 more people to the event. So that's great. That means the word's getting spread.
And it's all volunteer based.
All volunteer.
All volunteers.
We pay a little bit for the help with the social media and the marketing. It's more of the graphic design and creation of those, but it's truly, we're all volunteer. Yeah. Cool. We get a little celebration dinner in December for the board, and that's kind of the thank you I try to give to them, and because they put in a lot of work. So. Okay.
Now, one thing that I've noticed over the last several years is that the ride had been in May, correct?
It has, yes. And if you know right now, because you run an August ride too, August is full. Yeah. There's a ride every day, every weekend in August. So that's actually a discussion we're having tomorrow. We're going to have to go back to May. We've had that weekend for 8 or 9 years now, and it was a good weekend to be established. We'll probably move to the weekend after Mother's Day, because that's before Memorial Day. It's before a lot of the graduations and things that we might fall on. So I think we'll be back to May next year. Last year and this year with the pandemic, last year we couldn't go anywhere in May. This year we weren't quite sure with vaccines and everything quite where it was. So we said, let's go with August again and give us a little time to work it and make sure everything's safe, and we can do the event. And
it's actually the same weekend as another major ride that weekend. But
I mean, there's
a few. I know.
Oh yeah, there's 4 or 5 our day within the region. And then you've got the corporate challenge the next day and stuff. So but we've had a lot of people saying, I'll do 40 one day, I'll do 40 the next day.
Well, I know that. I'm going to do both, so it doesn't make any difference to me. Like I said earlier before the show, I said I did 100 miles this last weekend and 2 rides. So
that means I'll get to ride on Sunday. So
there you go. So now, are there any questions that I did not ask that I should have asked?
I think the biggest thing is, we try to get the word out about us and the organization and what we do. And I think when people hear about, we're all volunteer and we provide transportation to a population that really needs that help, because missing just one treatment session, that's huge. And that's Mike Buckley, who's one of our founders. He's a 2-time survivor. And that was the thing he saw going through treatment. Somebody misses one and the impact it has on them. And like I said, it's not always financial. Sometimes it's a long process. You're just tired of asking for help, asking others to take off work and those kind of things, whether it's family members or friends or whatever it is. It gets tough.
Yeah.
So we're glad that it's a program there. Last year we were starting to have the discussion pre-COVID about, can we expand? Can we get out to like Kearney and Grand Island and Hastings, that Tri-City area? That's still a goal, but it might be delayed a little bit. Just
Is
where we're
your
at.
group just Nebraska, or is it larger? This is unique.
Excuse me. So I'll share why that is. We started out as a Livestrong Army Omaha.
Okay.
Way back. So the first 6 to 7 years, we were a Livestrong Army chapter.
Okay.
They had changed their fundraising model to where lots of rides all across the country, fundraised, put into a big pot, and then it was voted as to where those went out to. So any money that we raised wasn't really going to support Nebraskans.
Okay.
And so that's when they broke off and created Wear Yellow Nebraska, so that we could keep all the funds here in Nebraska. Okay. So it's truly Nebraskans supporting Nebraskans, but I can't even say that because our ride brings in people from all over the country.
Exactly.
We just had that talk on Sunday at one of our events that, we've had servicemen that have been stationed here who, when they get deployed or they transfer to their new base, they'll still send in for a virtual participant packet.
Okay.
They get all the good stuff that we give out, the t-shirt, the water bottle,
Yeah.
the bag and everything. And they'll go ride, run or walk wherever they're at and, do the event. And some will social media, they'll send us pictures or, something from what they're doing.
And it is a nice water bottle.
It
too,
is
by
a
the
really
way.
nice water bottle, yes. Highly sought after water bottle.
Yeah.
So, we had a couple last year that called me and they just asked about the ride. They said, we're on our way to Ohio for a wedding from Colorado. We'd like to stop and do your ride. Where do we stay? What do we do? And we got them signed up and they loved it. So
Cool.
yeah. So the word's getting out of Nebraska. So that's even better. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on to the show and telling us. Oh, I did want to ask you, where did the term "Wear Yellow" come from? I mean, what is that for?
So I'm not wearing it tonight, but I know you've got some photos and stuff. So our logo is called the Power Crab.
Okay. Yes.
So the crab is the sign for the astrological sign for cancer.
Oh, okay.
And then the power symbol in the middle is the power to fight cancer.
Okay.
So where yellow comes from, yellow is the sign of all cancers. So we don't specify to any specific type.
Oh, okay.
We take care of everybody.
Okay.
So that's kind of where that came from and
Okay.
what that means.
So that's the little story behind
Yeah.
the name. Okay,
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And maybe it's on the website, and I guess I haven't really looked, but definitely you can tell people what is the website URL?
Sure. WearYellowNebraska.org. That's our website, and it'll link out to our registration site for the event. It'll link out to our social media. We've got a lot of great photos and videos there, so if you kind of want to see what the event looks like and the kind of folks that come out for it and everything, it's got all the info there. And
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on your Facebook page too.
there is. We're pretty heavy, and we have photos from every event for at least the last 7 or 8 years on there, and people love that because they love seeing themselves out at the event. People love getting their selfie on a bike. And
Yeah. In fact, I was going through some of the photos today, and I did see one of myself in there. At least you might say you got my best side, which is the back side. But I'm going, that's me.
Yep,
Okay.
Yep, and that's the reaction we get, and people tag themselves, and then their friends ask about that, and again, that just
I
spreads
think
the
one
word.
time too, on an aerial shot, I saw myself. I think it was from a couple years ago.
Yeah, we've had some drones out with
yeah.
the start, and we had KETV out a couple years ago. They were out there for the start in the morning, so
Yeah.
it was amazing how many people watch news in the mornings on Saturday.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Well, just want to let everybody know that the Wear Yellow ride is something that is worthy of support. go out to their website to find out more about the organization, to take and sign up for the ride. And I just want to remind everybody to pedal on.